Hello friends, good morning. Welcome to our YouTube channel Home Tunes for You. And in the last video session, we have seen that how to create project in Android Studio. As well as we have discussed some of the folder structure when you create any new application. By default, when you create any new application, then you will get two files over here. The one is main activity.java file and second one is activity underscore main.xml. Also, we have discussed the folder structure of your project. When you create any new application, then you will get these folders already available. Manifest folder, in which Android manifest.xml file resides. Second is your Java folder, which contains three folders. In the first folder, your main activity.java file will be resides and other two folders is used for the testing purpose. Similarly, we have discussed about a resource folder and its subfolders like drawable, layout, bitmap, values, and XML. So if you have not seen my earlier video, so I'll recommend you to please go and watch that video so you will get a brief introduction, a brief idea about this folder structure. Now, the agenda of today's session is to learn some basic controls in Android Studio, and we have to see that how to implement those controls on our screen. So as we know that when we create a new application, then we'll get one design screen over here on which we'll have one text view that we have get by default. So as per our requirement, we can change it or we can remove it from the screen and we can use other controls on this screen. So now today we have to see some basic controls, that how can we use that control and how can we implement, how can we active those controls in our project. So I'll delete the first text view from here and open the palette which contains controls. As you can see, this is the palette which is available. If you click on this palette, then you can see there are some categories provided here. Each category contains the controls that you can use in your application. Some of them is, the first one is the common controls. In these common controls, you can see the basic controls like text view, button, image view, recycler view, fragment container, scroll view, switch. In the text category, we have multiple options available here like text view, plain text, password, password numeric, and so on. As per our requirement, we can use these controls. Suppose you want to display just a string on your screen, then you can use text view control. If you want to take input from the user, then you can use plain text. And the input control is referred as edit text control in Android. The all other controls which contains underline below it, those are all used to accept the input from the user, but its functionality is different. Like plain text is used to accept only the text part, text or numeric in edit text. If you use password, then whatever you type in that edit text, it will be displayed as a star or dot. If you want to accept only a numeric value from the user, then you can use password edit text. Similarly, as per your requirement, you can use email edit text, phone, postal address, multi-line text, and time, date, so on. So now, in today's session, we are going to see that how can we use text view, plain text, and one button. So this is our agenda. Now we'll consider one scenario. Suppose we want to accept name, age, and salary from the user. And if we click on one button, then we just have to read the values that we have provided in the edit text. Those values we have to read and display on the same screen. So that is our agenda. So for this, we'll take some controls on our screen. The first control that we have to use is a text view. As we said, the text view is used to display just a string on a screen. And we will use this text view to display a title for this screen. Second, we'll take edit text, means the plain text control on the screen to accept name of the user. Similarly, we'll take another edit text to accept age of the user. And third one we'll use to accept salary of the user. Now, we need to perform some actions over here. So we'll take one button. As you can see, when you click on button, there are again multiple options available here. We'll see those controls in the later video. But right now, we just have to use one simple button because we want to perform one action over here that when we click on the button, then we have to read the values provided in this edit text and we have to display those values under this screen. Now, to display those values in the below part, we have to again use text views because as we have said, text view is used to just display the string values. So whatever the value provided for the name that we will display in the first text view, second text view is used to display age, and third text view will take here to display salary of the user. So these controls we have to use on our screen. Now, when you drag and drop all the controls on your screen, then the next step is to provide some attributes values to it. Each control we have to number of attributes available over here. If you click on the control, then you can see at the right hand side, there is one panel that is attribute panel where all the attributes are located. If it is not available over here, then you can just find out this attribute button. And if you click on this, then it will be open for you. Now we have to set some of the attributes of each control. Among all attributes, the first attribute that we want to set is its ID. This ID attributes is very important because it uniquely identifies your control on the screen. And because of this ID, we can identify this control in our .java file. So we have to set this ID attribute and provide some meaningful name to it so that we can easily remember and access that control. So for this text view, we are providing LVL title and click enter. When you click enter, then one window will pop up which asks for us to change this ID throughout our application. So for this, we need to click on the refactor button. So it will be set. Now second thing, we want to change its caption. As its caption is showing text view, we don't want this caption. Instead of this, we want to set some meaningful caption. So we'll select this control and find its text property. If it is difficult, then you can just search here the text property. Now we will change it and provide some meaningful name like personal information. Click on enter. Okay, so now title is set. Now similarly, we have to change the other controls properties. The first one is the name. Now we'll find its ID property and change it input name, enter and refactor. So its ID is changed. Now we want to show some text over here. Now like here by default we'll get name, but we don't want this name. And by default its text property is set. As you can see, as you can see here, the text property is set and it is set to name. But we don't want this property. Instead, we want to change its hint property. For the edit text, generally we set its hint property instead of the text property. Why? Because see, when you launch your application, then if you have set its name property, then we know that this value will be appear in your edit text. But if you want to enter new value in this edit text, then first you have to click in this edit text and remove the text over present over here. And if you provide some hint property, then it will be displayed in this edit text, but you don't have to remove that text manually. Instead, if you just click in this control, then automatically that text will be removed. So therefore, instead of the text property, we'll use the hint property for the edit text. Whatever the value you want to display, you can provide over here like this. As you can see, it is appear, but it is appear in the gray color. So it means that it is just a hint, and when the user click in this control, then this text will automatically will be removed. You don't have to remove it manually. Similarly, we'll set the text and hint property for the another two edit text. Input age refactor, and we'll set its hint property and remove the text property. For the third one, input salary, and we remove its text property. Uh-oh. Okay. So now all these three controls have been set. Now we have to set the ID property of the button. We'll provide some meaningful name over here like button underscore show, refactor it, provide it some text property because we don't want to show button over here. We want to change its caption to show. Now, when we launch our application, then this screen will be appear to user, and whatever the value enter in the name edit text, age edit text, and salary edit text, when we click on the show button, then our aim is to read these values from the edit text and display in these three text views. So, but by default, As you can see here, its caption is set to text view. We don't want to appear text view over here. Instead, we'll keep it a blank. So what we will do, we will set its attributes. First attribute is its ID. We'll provide some meaningful name to it, like LBL name refactor, and we'll remove the text property of this text view. Similarly, we'll provide some meaningful name to this another text view, that is LBL age refactor, and we'll remove the values provided in the text property. Third, LBL salary, enter refactor, and remove its text property. Now, as you can see, this is the screen that we have created. So initially, when our application will be launched, then user will see the same screen on the device. Once he or she will enter the values for name, age, and salary and click on the show button, then we have to display all the values in the below text views. So this is our aim. Now our design part is complete. Now we have to go to the main activity.java file, and we have to change some code over here. We have to write some code over here. Once you have completed your design part, then the first step that you want to use, that you have to use over here, is whatever the control that you want to access in this .java file. For those, we have to create object for that. The first step is the first step that you want to perform in .java file is to import the classes related or associated with the controls that you want to access in this Java file. So as we have taken 3 controls on our screen, so we have to import the classes associated with that controls. So for this, we'll write import Android dot widgets dot first control that we have taken is text view. So we have imported the class associated with the text view. Similarly, we'll import Android dot widgets dot edit text. Similarly, import Android dot widget dot button. So now we have taken these 3 controls on our screen, and we have imported all the 3 classes associated with these controls. Now the second step is you have to declare object for each control that you want to access in the .java file, and you can declare those objects under this class. As you can see, by default you will get one class named as your activity, that is public class main activity, and it extends app compact activity. By default, you will get one method over here that is overridden, and this method is your onCreate method, because this is the first method that will be invoked when you launch your application. So by default, when you launch your application, then the control goes directly inside this onCreate method. And under this method, it is specified that which design screen is associated with this .java file. Now currently we have only one screen, that is activity underscore main. That activity underscore main is provided over here. As you can see, set content view method is called. This method specifies that which is the layout file for this screen. And we have provided the r.layout.activity main. This R is a resource file under which there is a section, that is a layout section, and in that layout section it is specified that what is the ID of that screen. So this activity underscore main is the ID. So here we have provided, so whenever this application will be launched, then we have to show the activity underscore main dot main XML file as a screen. Now, as we have said that we have to create object for each control, though, so we'll declare those objects under this class. We'll create some space and declare the objects. The first object we'll create for the text view. For the title text view, we don't want any objects because we don't have to perform any operation on that. So we'll directly write lbl or obj name, which we will use for the text view, obj lbl name. Similarly, obj lbl age and obj lbl salary. These three objects we have taken for the three text views that we have taken below this button. The first is used to display the name, second is for age, and third one is for salary. So we have taken three different objects under this Java file for these three text views. Now we have to declare objects for these three edit text. So we'll again go to the Java file and create some objects over here of type edit text obj underscore input underscore name. See here, I'm providing some meaningful name so that we can easily remember that which object is used for which control. As this referred, this object is used for input age and another object is used for input salary. So I can easily remember that what is the name for that control. That this object is used for the input name, this object is used for input age, this object is used for input salary, this object is used for label name, means the text view that we have taken to display name. This is the object to display age, this is the object to display salary. Okay, now the third one is the button object. Button obj underscore btn underscore show. Okay, so now we have declared objects for all our controls. Now the next step is we have to initialize this object with the reference of our actual control that we have taken on the screen. It means that we have to bind this object with our actual controls that we have created on the screen. See, because these are the two different files, so we have to link those objects with the controls that we have displayed on the screen. So for that, we have to use one very important method, that is find view by ID. And we can provide or we can write those code in the onCreate method. Below the set content view, we'll link this object to our actual controls. For example, first we'll take this label name, obj label name equal to, we have to call one method that is find view by id, and it will take one parameter, and that parameter is the id of that control that you have provided on the screen. So if you see that this edit text or first text view, that is this text view, we have provided id that is lbl name. So we have to use this id under this find view by id method as a parameter. So for that we have to write r file dot id dot lbl name, lbl name, and finish this with the semicolon. Okay, so what will happen, this r.id.lbl name is nothing but the, we are specifying that under this r file, which is nothing but the resource file, there is a id section, and under this id section there is a id which is lbl name, and find view by id is the method which is used to take a reference from this id, and we are assigning this reference to our object that is obj lbl name. So what will happen, this object is linked with this control. Similarly, we'll link all other controls, lbl age equal to find view by id r.id.lbl age semicolon, obj salary equal to find view by id r.id.salary. Next is edit text, obj input name equal to find view by id r.id.input name. Input name is the id that we have provided for the edit text that we have used for the to accept the name from the user. Second, obj input age equal to find view by id r.id.input age and semicolon. Input salary equal to find view by id r.id.input, oh, input salary is not showing. I think we have made some mistake over here, so we have to check its coding file, this xml file, and we have to check the code that for the edit text, third edit text, what is the, as you can see here, the id has not been set for this control, and by mistake we have set that id to someone else. Okay, okay, we'll change input underscore salary. You can set id from here also. Yes, now it is set, and we'll go to our Java file and see if it comes r.id.input salary. Okay. Similarly, we'll we'll create a reference. We'll link the button object with its reference, obj button underscore show equal to find view by id r dot id dot button show. Now see here what we have done. We have used this object name that we have declared for the label. Label means for the text view, and we have used find view by id method. We are saying that find the control which is located under this resource file under this id section and whose id is label name. So these reference will be assigned to this object. Now it means that this object contains that control. Now if you want to access the values from this control, then you can use this object. Okay, so similarly we have set all the objects. Now what we have to do, the third part is, now when we click on the button, then some code should be executed, that it will read the values from the text, edit text, and display under the display in the text views. So for this we have to write one function for the button control. So if you want to assign some event handler to the button, so for that we need to use that object that we have just created, obj button show dot. See, when you click dot, then it will give you some suggestions that which method you want to invoke. So here we want to invoke the set on click listener. This method is a listener method which will be invoked when you click on the button. Now when you click when you click on the set on click listener, then it will give you the method. But in that we have to provide some another method, that is new view dot on click listener. See, when you type new and provide some space, then it will give you another suggestions that which method you want to invoke. So we have to invoke this view dot on click listener. So when you click on that, then it will give you the actual on click method of this button. Now as you can see, the complete syntax is obj button show dot set on click listener in bracket new view dot on click listener, and it will override one method, that is the on click method. Now whatever the code you will write under this on click method, that will be executed when you click on the button. Okay, so our aim is when we click on the button, then we have to read the values from the edit text, and we have all the objects associated with that edit text. So what we will do, we'll take one variable of type string, provide some name equal to, now we will use the object associated with that edit text, obj input name. This is the object that we have created and link with the name edit text. So it has the control, or it has the reference of the edit text that we are using to accept the name. Now by using this object name, we can call one method, that is a get text method. This get text method is used to get the text from the edit text, and explicitly we will convert this into the string by using the toString method. So what will happen, whenever we click on the button, show button, then the program controls comes under this set on click listener and under this on click method, and it will execute this line. It finds that we need to read the values from obj input name, and get text method is called. It means that we have to read the values from this edit text, converted that text into the string, and store in this name variable. Similarly, we'll read all the values like stream age equal to obj input age dot get text dot toString. Similarly, we'll take another variable for salary equal to obj input salary dot get text dot toString. So finally, we have read all the values from the edit text and store in these three variables. Now, the last part that we have to do is we have to display all these values in the text view. So same thing, we have created object for each text view in which we want to show the values. So we will use those objects and assign these value to that text view. So for that, we have to use the object name of that label lbl obj label name is not present over here. Hmm, we have to check again in the coding part that what is the ID for that control. lbl name is over here. Obj label name is r dot id dot lbl name. So okay, we made mistake over here. We have not provided obj. Okay, now it's correct. So we can use this obj label name dot. Now our aim is we want to set the text in that text view. So for this we have to use one another method, that is set text. And whatever the value you want to display in that text view, so that value we want to provide in this parameter list. So we want to display this name value. So we'll write name over here. Similarly, obj underscore lbl age dot set text, and we want to set value which we have already stored in the age variable. Obj lbl salary dot set text, and we want to display salary. Yeah. Now see, our code is complete. Now let's revise what we have done. Initially, when we came, then we have first imported the classes associated with the controls like TextView, EditText, and Button, because we have used these three controls on our screen. Next, under this class, we have declared the objects associated with each control that we want to use in our Java file. So we have declared three objects for the text view because we want to display text in this text view. We have declared three objects for the edit text because we want to read the values from this edit text, and we have declared objects for the button because we want to perform some operations on the click event of this button. Second step, we have linked all these objects with the actual control by using the find view by ID method. We have used object name equal to find view by ID and provided ID of that particular control. The same thing we have applied for all the objects. Next, we have assigned one listener to the button by using object name dot set on click listener method. In that, we have again used new view dot on click listener method, and which will override this on click method. So whenever we click on the button, then the program control comes under this on click event. Now in this on click event, we have read the values from the edit text. For this, we have declared one variable name, and we are going to store the values from this edit text by using the object which associated with that control and by using the getText method. Finally, we have converted the value in the string format and store it in this variable name. Similarly, we have read the values from age edit text and store it in variable age, and read the values from salary edit text and store it in the variable salary. After reading all the values, we have set the values in the below three text views by using the object name associated with that text view and the set text method. And the value that we have provided under this parameter list, that will be displayed in the text view. So the age value will be, these parameters is nothing but the variables that you have used or created over here. So the values read from the edit text will be stored in this variable, and we are going to pass this variable to this parameter list, and these values will be set to this object or the controls associated with these objects. And we know that the text view associated with this object obj lbl name that we have taken on the screen just below the button. See, this is the lbl name, this is lbl age, and this is lbl salary. Now our coding part has been completed. Now we'll try to run this application and check whether it is properly working or not. So I have already run my emulator because it takes some time. So I'll just rerun it. So friends, as you can see here, it is showing some error messages for the edit text that input age, input name, and input salary, that touch target size too small. So what happened that when we have created and set its attribute and we have removed the text property, we have removed the values from the text property. Therefore, this error occurs. So to fix this error, what we have to do, we have to set its size to the default 24 SP. So we'll find this control and we'll find the size attribute. See, as you can see here, text size. So we have to provide it the 24 SP. Okay. So now we'll again try to rerun it. So friends, as you can see that emulator has been launched and our application is also launched on that emulator, and it is showing our screen that is personal information, and it is showing 3 edit text for us and 1 button. Now we'll check that whether it is working properly or not. So we'll provide some name over here like Yash, age is 25, salary is 30,000, and click on the show button. See here, as you can see that these values will be displayed in this 3 text view. What we have done, we have clicked on the show button. So the program control goes under our Java file and this code has been executed. First, it will read the values from this edit text, that is Yash, 25 and 30,000, and store in these 3 corresponding variables, name, age, and salary. And finally, it will be set to the 3 text views, that is label name, LBL age, and LBL salary. Again, suppose we'll enter XYZ, age is 52, salary is 75,000, and click on show button. Then it will display the same value that we have entered. So friends, here we have completed our code and we have successfully seen that how can we use edit text, text views, and buttons. So if you have any query, then you can comment on this in the comment box. And I request you, if you like this video, if you find this useful, then please do like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And in the next session, we'll see some other controls and some other part of the Android Studio. Till then, bye bye. Thank you so much. Bye.